Hello, I'm Paul here. Today I'm going to be talking about NVIDIA and trading strategies for NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA is one that I'm probably going to be trading more because of where it stands in the market. It's the biggest company that's out there in the stock market, and there's a lot of volume that can go with it. So, regularly trading NVIDIA and finding the patterns, you can usually find a lot of volume and get a lot of good results from it, but you just got to understand how to trade NVIDIA. So I'm going to show you guys my formula, and then we're just going to look at NVIDIA, and we're going to be looking at in spots in the past in the market where you could actually where you could have taken trades for calls, and you can also you could also buy into it and wait for the price to go up. So you can do it both ways, but particularly this video is going to be about looking at NVIDIA and finding moments to do calls and puts. But mainly it's calls because the price has been going up. But we're going to look at NVIDIA like we're trading it, and we're going to see, and I'm going to plug in my formula, and we're going to see how I trade it. Okay, so first you're gonna have to be set up with 3 indicators here. Now I've talked about this in my last couple of videos. The first batch is going to be the hardest for people to get, because what I do is I get Ghost Market Pro. It's a paid indicator. Talked about it on this channel, but that's how I get all these moving averages here. So if you don't want Ghost Market Pro, I'll give you a free version. It works about the same. I think there's less moving averages, but it works about the same. But if you want Ghost Market Pro, you got to load the Ghost Market Pro swing with this. It's what I'm referencing. I'll put the link below. I'm not affiliated with them, but this is what I'm using for this video. And then the next one we're going to have is our linear regression candles. So you want to go to linear regression candles. And for this, I actually hide the candles, and I just bring out the plot line. So the plot line is important. And then you have MACD. MACD is customized as well. I removed the histogram, and I changed my inputs to 13 and 48. So those are the settings that you need to follow along here. So basically what we don't want to do is we want to look at NVIDIA on the daily, and we want to see what it's doing. And from the daily, we want to go to the last point in time when we see the plot line from the linear regression candles crossing the 90-95 on the daily, and we see that happen right here. So this is the moment that it started going bullish. So if we followed along, and if we actually had bought, if we bought here, we'd make a lot. And if we held a long call, we would have made a lot. So basically, from this point on, we were bullish. And if you followed along, we were still bullish, even though we're way up here right now, and the linear regression line, plot line here is getting closer to crossing down, so it could be pulling back very soon. How you know when we were going to start going back down in the opposite direction is when the plot line crosses the 90-95 on the daily. When you see these two crossing, that's when you know that the market is most likely going to start going in the opposite. It's going to start going down, most likely. So we know now from this, if you want to do this on the daily, which means you basically would have to wait for signals, and that will be a while. So if you wanted to make your trades based off the daily here, you would have to wait for your MACD here. You would have to look for crosses. So that moment it doesn't happen until right here, because we already know we're bullish, and it crossed right here. So this would have been an entry point on the daily. And let's just see how much this would be if you followed along. So if you came in right here, which would have been a while because these are daily, and you wrote it out till here, to when it almost touched it again, This is a $28 difference in price, so with one contract, you're close to about $2,800 right there. And then this is the moment that it crossed, so this is when it started going bullish. So in the bearish, real quickly here, I'm going to show you what to do next while we're in the bullish moment of it. So because we can't really wait for this to cross again. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to go down to a smaller time frame. So we know the overall direction is bullish, even though it's pulling back right now. It's still bullish. So bullish is still the direction that you would want to focus on, because that's what the main moving averages are telling you. See, we are still bullish. So bullish is the direction that you got to focus on. You do not want to go against the trend. So we are still bullish. So what we want to do, we want to go down to a smaller time frame. Let's go down to the hour. So we know that we were still bullish. So we are in right now a little bit of a pullback. So what you want to do, basically, what you want to look for first is you want to look for that plot line to cross back up to the 90.95, basically. So to be completely bullish again, the plot line, which is right here, would have to cross this to be bullish again. Like what happened kind of like right here. You see it happen right here. So you want to either look for the plot line to cross the 90.95, or you want to look at your MACD for some signals. But if we are in a pullback zone, like what we see right here, since we've been pulling back, it's very risky to go back up again, because it's still trying to recover from coming down. So basically, you want to wait for the lines really to get closer. Even doing trades like this here, because we know we're right now pulling back, this would be very risky right here, because you see it crossing right here. You want to get it closer to the 90.95 as possible. So when we are bullish, which is the current direction, you had a moment right here that you could get in. You see it crossing the 90.95. You could have got in here, or you could have got in when the MACD crossed right here. Right here, you could have got in right here, which would have been a signal right about here. So you could have got up for this and rode this all the way to the top, and you could have made, this run would have been 5 days, you would have made about $800. So, got to zoom in here because we are in a bullish part right here. So we go, when we can't find good entry points, you want to go to your MACD, and you want to enter every time it's crossing up into that direction. So we see a moment right here. We see a moment right here. And that's not really crossing right there, but that's a moment right there. Let's see if we can find any more. Now this is doing it on the hour. You can go out in whatever time frame you want. We checked it on the daily. So you just want to check. We are in a bullish moment, so you focus on bullish. So cross right here. So this will be another moment right here. There's a small one right here if you zoom in on it. Right about here. Here's another moment. Small moment right here. Could have got $300 right there. And there's a moment right here. So this is about another $500. So real quickly, I want to show you what to do when we are bearish. The first thing you want to do, you want to check your daily. You want to make sure on the daily we are bearish, which that hasn't happened for a while. But when we are bearish, you see a moment right here. So you would focus right here. You would look on the daily. You see that the linear regression line has crossed. So you could have entered here, and you could have taken this trade here. And for the sake of when we're bearish, it's the same thing. When we're bearish on the daily, you want to go to your smaller time frame and check for moments when the MACD is crossing down. Instead of up, you want to check for the moments when the MACD is crossing down. So on the daily, we got a moment right here, and we got a moment right here. But other than that, those are your moves. Those were your moves on the daily. That's what you want to look out for. But most of it, it's bullish here. It very rarely goes bearish. It's very strong. You see another moment that happened right here. You see another moment that happened right here. You look at your MACD, it crosses down. You could have entered here for bearish. And then basically what you want to do, if we are in a bearish moment, which we are not right now, if we're in a bearish moment, you go to the lower time frames, because you can do it on the daily if you want, but you will have to wait a while for the signal to pop, for the cross to happen. So if you want to make profit for today, for intraday, do smaller time frame. Me personally, I only do the hour, because if I go into a smaller time frame, I'll just get in on chop, basically. But that's basically how to look at NVIDIA and basically get in on some pretty good trades. Okay, so for the strategy, you need the 3 setup. You need your moving averages, which is basically the Ghost Market Pro. Now, I didn't show you on this video, but you can also go to there's alternatives that you can do. And if you want to check my other videos, because I talk about it, I didn't mention it in this video, but there's alternatives to where you can get moving averages for free that are like Ghost Market Pro, but they don't have as much moving averages, so you just got to be a little bit more careful. But as long as you have, it's 5 all the way to the 90-95. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, and 95. So you have to have those moving averages, plus the plot line from the linear regression and the customized MACD. With the MACD has 1348 as the inputs, with the histogram checked off. So that's basically how I do it. I'll be covering this more in other videos. Doing NVIDIA, because it's the biggest company out there, so there's a lot of volatility to it, so you can always make pretty decent when you follow the charts. But anyway, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in future videos.